If you've ever wanted a custom calendar without breaking the bank, this video is going to be for you. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this really cool magnetic calendar by only using 3 sheets of paper, a magnetic sheet, and some glue. There's absolutely no fancy tools that you are going to need. And we are going to be using Canva today and the free version if you want it. This all comes together ridiculously fast, so easy to assemble. And it's going to be one of those projects that looks like it cost $1 million. However, it was only a couple pennies. Let's go. To make this project go really quick and also easy, what I went ahead and did is created the template link for this exact template, and I placed it over in my cardstock warehouse. So you're gonna wanna go pick that up so we can start crafting real quick. The way that I have created this file is that you are going to have 3 different pages. The first page, and this is why we need 3 separate sheets, is the first page. What we are gonna do is we are gonna print this piece on a thick, high quality piece of cardstock. You're gonna want that just to make sure that your picture that you have on your thing actually holds up and doesn't get flimsy and bent. Now, the next 2 sheets of paper that you are gonna need is just some basic printer paper. Nothing fancy here. Now, if you did not want to pick up the template found in my cardstock warehouse, the sizes that you are gonna need for this particular project, for the first page, you are gonna need to make your rectangle about 4 inches by 6 3/4. And then every single square that is on your page, you are going to wanna make that about 3 inches by 3 inches. Now, I am going to show you a little bit of editing that you can do with this calendar that I have created, one of which is going to be changing out the colors. Now, I've created the original template pink and ivory because that is my grandma's favorite colors, and since this is my grandma on here and I'm gifting it to her, might as well just make it her favorite colors. However, if you did not want to keep it the pink and ivory colors, what you could go ahead and do is come over here into position and come over here into layers. Scrolling down until you see the rectangles, and by clicking on just, let's say you only wanted to change the pink one. So we're gonna click on one, pressing Command, and then clicking on another, and then we would keep going. You can come up here into the pink and you can change these into any color that you want. Super easy. So by clicking on one, let's say that you wanted this blue, you would just come down here where it says Change All, and then the first and the second page gets changed to the blue that you just chose. Now, the text is not an editable text, so if you wanted to change out the font, you would have to make your own text box. How you do that is just by pressing T on your text on your keyboard, a new text box is going to pop up. At that point in time, you can just put in your first month. Had to make sure I spelled that correctly. And then you want to come over here into the font choices, and all you want to do is just click a new font. Now, if you have Canva Pro, then you're going to be able to use all fonts that are seen within Canva. However, if you have free Canva, what you're going to need to do is make sure that none of your fonts have these little crowns right here. All of those are Canva Pro fonts, and so you won't be able to use them. But it's okay. If you do not have Canva Pro, they actually have a ton of different free fonts that you can use. Now, let's say you wanted to use Britney as your font. All you would want to do is delete the fonts that I have already added on for you, delete them, and then just add in your own. Now, I actually, while I did choose this font as just like a little teaser font, as an example for you, I probably would not use this. And the reason for that is you see how the J in January and then the Y, it goes into your actual calendar. And I'm not sure if that would work out very well because while the calendar itself is a pretty decent size, the boxes truly aren't that big. And so I would hate for you to not be able to see the actual date. So what I would love for you to do if you do choose to choose your own font is just to choose a font, something like this, where it is not going to cut into the actual calendar, because I don't want you to like not be able to see the dates. You know what I mean? Once you have your first text box, then all you have to do is copy and paste, Command C, Command V. You can edit the next month, I swear. Sometimes I have to stop and think about what it is that I'm actually spelling because sometimes it's kind of hard. February. Okay. So then what you could do is just add in this one and then make it smaller. Make sure that you leave it inside the actual box itself. Now, what I do not want you to do, let's say that you were changing these colors and you're like, you know what? I want white boxes here. If you only want white boxes, okay? So if you come down here and you decide you want all white boxes, we'll change this over to white. It is going to be pretty impossible for you to figure out where we are going to cut this. I am going to be using a really cool paper cutter that I'm going to show you later, but you can also use scissors for this project. But you're going to need some sort of contrast in order to figure out where you're going to cut this. So if you want white boxes, what I want you to do is click on the actual background, come up here and choose a contrast color, something like this. The reason why is when we print this, you're going to be able to see where the white ends. That is where you're going to cut. These like white boxes are going to be your finished product. So just keep that in mind when you go ahead and make your colors and font choices for your calendar. Okay, and then let's go over into page 1 where we talk a little bit about this right here. You are going to get a random frame, and that is going to be the very back. The very back that's right here. I keep manhandling my calendar and it just like pops right off. So this right here is going to be the calendar, the main part of your calendar. The reason why there's a white square right there is because I want you to make sure and choose a correct picture that doesn't get cut off when we add in our square. Just to show you what I'm talking about, I have a couple pictures right here that we could use as an example. So for this is, I'm gonna make another calendar for my grandma because clearly I messed my calendar up. So I initially, when I created this calendar, I wanted to use this picture right here. When we drag this into Canva or into our frame, that's the word. Do you see how like, now her dog's face, although it's a great picture of her dog, it's now getting cut off. And if you want to, like you could adjust this by double clicking on the frame and you could move this around. The problem is when we press done, she's still cut off. And so I could make her bigger like this and press done. But like, this is just not a good picture, okay? So what I've chosen to do is use this picture of my grandma with her dog. When we drag and drop it in there, you can definitely see that that is her with her dog, not cut off. Now I could make this larger by double clicking and just kind of maneuvering this and pressing done. And I actually end up really liking how this looks. Maybe I'm gonna go down just a little bit so it doesn't cut her head off. There we go. Okay, so this is just a really good example of good and bad pictures that you're going to want to use for this particular calendar template. This is why I included this white square here, is just so you know where you're going to see your actual picture. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and delete this rectangle. However, I'm going to keep it in there just so I know exactly where to align my final calendar onto my picture, okay? But you could even, if you wanted to, you could even come into transparency and like bump the transparency down a little bit if you were worried about it being seen or something like that. There's definitely a lot of options with this type of project, but we're done. That's the entire project. The editing of this was super easy, quick and easy. You just had to find your picture. Oh, one thing, if you're new to Canva and you have no idea how to use Canva, the other thing that you can do is, let's say that this, let's just use this picture right here for an example. I'm going to drag this and put this in here. See how the quality of this picture like isn't all that great, and like the color just kind of looks like it's a little fuzzy. What you can do is by clicking on your picture, you come over here into edit and you come over here into adjust. Now you actually have a photo editing thing on your computer. So we can adjust the brightness if you wanted, the contrast, the highlights. So you would just want to keep adjusting until you get the actual final picture that you want. So like in previous videos that I've done with you about stuff like this, I used to do them in Cricut, and I would always tell you like, okay, well, you have to have your photo edited before you actually drop it into Cricut Design Space, because they don't have any photo editing. The great thing here is that we have a photo editor within Canva, and it's free to use for everyone, which is amazing. All right, so now at this point, what you're gonna wanna do is come over here into File and Download. Now, I am going to take my PNG file and I'm gonna bump up the resolution all the way up. You will not be able to do this if you have a free account, okay? So just make sure that if you're using a free account, just keep it at 1. The quality of your printing does get better if you increase your resolution, your pixels, but it's not like, I didn't increase that with this one right here. I will show you the apples to apples between the two. So if you're like, should I upgrade to Canva Pro or not? You'll be able to see what the difference is when we print this together, okay? So you are going to print all 3 pages. Now all you want to do is press download. All right, you can resave this if you want to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to press save. I'm sorry, you can rename this if you want to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to press save. And then what you want to do is find your downloaded folder. It's going to be a zip file. And then you're going to want to double click that, and you're going to have 3 pages to print out. What I want you to do is select all 3 pages and double click, and you're gonna get these all opened into one thing like this, okay? I don't know if this matters or not. I am running on a Mac computer. I probably should have said that before. I don't know. I feel like everything I did was like pretty like the same for Mac and Windows. I could be wrong. Okay, so for the very first piece of paper, remember, I want you to print on a really thick white piece of cardstock. I am using double-sided glossy white cardstock. It's my most favorite type of cardstock. The other 2 pieces, these 2 right here, what I want you to do is just print this on basic copy paper. The reason why I want you to do basic copy paper is I actually printed these on thicker cardstocks, and while the quality looks really nice, like it's not flimsy, the problem I'm having is the glue didn't adhere very well to the thick cardstock. It will adhere better with the plain white, like the printer paper cardstock, okay? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to click on page 1, and I'm going to Command P, which is print. I'm only going to print page 1 for right now, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select from page 1 to 1, okay? And then what I am going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm printing on the correct quality. So I'm going to come over here to quality, and I'm going to do best. And yep, that's fine. Everything else is fine. So I'm going to go stick this into my 12-inch printer. All right, now what we want to do is press print. We are going to just print this one single sheet of paper. And then while that prints, what we're going to do is we're going to come down here to page 2, and I'm going to Command P, which is print. And then this one, I'm going to come down here from range, and I'm going to do 2 to 3. So I'm going to do these 2 pieces of paper, okay? Then what I'm going to do is wait for the cardstock, the glossy cardstock, to get done printing. And then I'm going to get 2 sheets of plain copy paper, and then I'm going to put that into my printer and then press print. All right, so we got our 2 pieces of paper, of plain old copy paper, looking fabulous. And then we have our printed picture, okay? Just to give you the difference in quality between the 2, the only huge difference I see is that this one right here is just crisper compared to this one right here. So one is definitely a lot crispier, in my opinion, of a print than the other one. Now, is this a make or break type of situation? I don't really think so. I guess it's just up to you what you would like to like if you wanted to upgrade. I personally pay for Canva Pro because I use Canva all the time for everything. I use it for email marketing, for the cardstock shop. I use it to make my covers, my thumbnails over here on the tube. I use it to create things like this. So it's definitely worth it for me to actually upgrade to Canva Pro. Okay, so I have this really cool paper trimmer. I have been using it for a couple weeks now. I'm absolutely in love with it. I got it from QVC. They gave it to me, and it's actually really good. I have another one of these type sliders, and it was just, the paper was getting snagged on the blade. This one right here is a rotary type blade, and it's really good. I'm going to show you how to use it. If you do not want to get a fancy one like this, that's fine. All you need is a good pair of scissors and a steady hand, and all you want to do is just cut out your squares. Just make sure that you cut them out nice and straight, okay? So first what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my piece of paper that has the glossy print, okay? And then this one right here also has these to make, like, if you need longer measurements. I don't need them, so I'm just gonna put them back here, but just so you know. And then we're going to put this in here, making sure that we make these nice and straight. Now I need to make sure that I get this on my nice and straight. The hardest part about this project is going to be making sure that you don't cut off any of your piece of paper. But look at that, nice and straight, no snags and tags. We have a wonderful cut line. Now at that point, it is super easy to do the rest of the cuts with this thing, because you can line up the blade to the print edges. To start these is always the hardest, but making sure that you're really close. They do have a guide. You can push this down to hold your paper in place, and there you go. So this is some super thick, heavy cardstock, and it just glides right through without any snags and tears or issues. It's so good. And this right here creates such a professional look. By hand cutting, I just don't know if you would end up getting a professional look with a hand cut, but this definitely, it looks very professional. So we're gonna set this one off to the side, and then we are gonna cut these two. I'm gonna do the cut together. I think that's going to be my safest bet. And then again, making sure that we do the first cut's always the hardest cut. All right, now that those are all cut, again, that was the hardest part of the entire project, is definitely trying to make your edges nice and clean and straight. So let's work on this right here, because this right here is going to be the thing that takes the longest to get finished. And so what you want to do is make sure that we have these in correct order. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, November, December. Okay. All right. Stacking these up all nicely together. You want to make sure that the tops are definitely nice, aligned, and straight. Okay. Then what you are going to want to get is some binder clips. These right here is essential to getting some really good glue marks on your thing. And you are going to want to put this like this at the very top. Okay. Then doing the same with this side, making sure that these are nice and straight. The straighter, and this is why the straighter the cuts, the better when it comes to this project, because we are gonna glue these together. All right, so we have them like this, right? The two ends have them like this. Now, if you had a book press, the book press probably would work so much better than binder clips, but this is going to be good enough because once we add the glue in there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal the other sides like this, just so everything is going to be nice and tight, okay? But what I am going to do now is I'm going to use some Maker's Magic. This is the matte version. The reason why I chose matte is because my paper has a matte finish and I don't want the glossiness to like, you know, like if I were to get messy with the glue and put the glue on top of here, I don't want you to be able to see the glue finish. With choosing the matte finish, you should be able to not see anything. Okay, like after it dries. All right. So what I'm going to do is take a brush. If you had like glue, like regular PVA glue, that could work as well. I've seen a lot of other makers use that as well. So all you're going to do is rub the side of the top side of your calendar with this glue. You want to try not to get it on the very top. So there's some glue right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more of these binder clips and I'm going to clip them together on the very top. All right, readjusted the pins to the top. And now you are going to want to let this dry. For however long your glue takes to dry, you're going to want to let that dry and seal up nice and good. Don't be tempted to take off your your glue for that because it won't end up turning out well if you do. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to need is this magnetic sheet. It has like a sticky back on one side and magnetic sheet on the other. You're going to want to trim your piece of magnetic sheet. You can do it the same size, but to be honest with you, you're going to have to use that sliding thing again or some scissors. Mine, I'm going to have some leftover that I'm not going to use again. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the paper off, this right here, and I'm going to throw that off to the side. You don't need it anymore. Then what I'm going to do is put my grandma's picture onto the magnetic sheet, and I'm just going to rub, making sure it's good and stuck on there. Okay. I am just going to trim this up with some scissors because I don't want to gunk up my rotary blade too much. Awesome. Okay. Now taking my rotary cutter back out, I'm going to trim off any of the excess magnet sheet. It cut through the magnet sheet perfectly, cut through this really thick cardstock, and also did that the really thin copy paper without any issues. All right. Okay, now that we have that nice and trimmed up there, this is what this looks like compared to what this looks like. All right, so the last and final thing is something that I'm not going to be able to show you right now, and that's because this right here is still gluing and I don't want to take it off and be tempted to take it off. So, in how to adhere this to the back of this, all you have to do is with this one, let me just peel this off. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, just peel this off. And I will show you with the other pieces of paper. Let's say that this right here is the finished book, right? All you want to do is on the back. So on the back of the thing that you just glued on there, if you wanted to, you could use more of that glue. You could use this glue that you were using or your Elmer's glue. The reason why I don't suggest that, you could use that. The reason why I don't suggest that is this paper is super thin. If you put any type of wet glue down, it's going to wrinkle your paper and that won't end up looking really good when someone gets down to the last month. So what I suggest doing is taking some double-sided tape, and you could just put it here on the actual rectangle, making sure that you only stay within this rectangle, okay? And then you just take your calendar and you line it up with your rectangle. Remember, that's why I want you to keep that there, is because then all you have to do is add in your calendar and there it is. finished product, and then when they get to the very end, it's nice, clean, smooth, and looks wonderful. So that's why I suggest doing a double-sided tape, is just because it looks seamless at the very end. Now, wasn't this craft so easy to do? The end results absolutely looked amazing. And like I said, quick, right? All right, y'all, I sure hope you had so much fun crafting with me, and I'll see you later.